Now, let me explain what we're doing. We did this in the US conference, and it was also very well received and very well attended. And basically, why are some companies, why do they do better than others? Why do they achieve, if you're on the practitioner side, what is it about these companies that makes them unique or distinguished? What is it if you're on the provider side that you can learn about your peers and whatever? But here's the key. We get to do this en natural. All right, so they have no idea what the questions are. They just have general topics, all right? So we're going to ask them these questions, and instead of get their memorized, talking points from their marketing department, who did ask to sit up there next to them, all of them, okay? They've got to actually give an answer off the cuff. All right, that's rule number one. Rule number two is they have to do it in 90 seconds. You can't see the front of my iPad, but it's a timer. And at 90 seconds, I'm going to make them stop. So those are the rules of engagement. All right, and our panelists today are Tom Illick from Advantage XPO. Phil Cooper from Allegis Talent 2. I'm going to hopefully say this right. Kath Pasamai. I got it? That's amazing. I rarely do. Capita. Sally Hunter from Kelly OCG. Rory Jeffcock from Pontoon. The artist formerly known as Prince, Pontoon. And Seb O'Connell from Ronstadt SourceRight. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them two at a time to ascend the podium. I use the word ascend in its purest sense, to ascend the podium, and then each of them will take a turn answering the question. So the first question, so you guys have to successfully negotiate from your chairs to the podium without folding. That's the first rule. The first question is for Tom Illick and Seb O'Connell. There you go. All right, so up you go, up you go. Come on.
Okay, I got up the podium.
And since people cheered for Tom and booed for Seb, we'll start with Seb. All right,
Okay,
so Ronstadt SourceRight, tell me how you get to know your clients. What are the steps that you take to understand their strategy? Hold on. So we're having a little bit of a problem here with this.
Has the timer started?
No, I had a problem with the printer. Okay, so there we go. What do you do to understand the issues and develop a strategy to allow you to manage successfully within the client's culture? So how do you get to know your client's culture? You have 90 seconds.
Okay. Well, I think the key to knowing any client's culture is really to spend time with them. I think too often in our industry as a whole, we are asked to be reactive to bids, to be reactive to some knee-jerk requirements coming out to us. And I think the best RPO solutions you see in the marketplace is where a client has invited in the RPO providers to spend time with them, to workshop with them, and to really understand their business. And I think that is not just in terms of HR or procurement or the team driving the process, but to actually get under the skin of the individual operating units, the different geographies involved, and the different individuals. Because one thing that's often overlooked within a client structure is the fact that the culture of one area, one geography can vary slightly from other areas. So it's no use asking an RPO provider to build a solution within what HR believes to be the culture within that part of the business, but to really get under the skin of the different departments and to tailor your solution appropriately.
All right, not bad, a minute and 6 seconds. All right, Tom, hard act to follow. You can do it, man. Let's go. How do you get to know your clients and their structure and their strategies?
Right, thank you, Aled. Hi, everyone. For me, understanding a customer starts even before we engage with them formally. It starts in the sales process. I'm a salesman, so I have a theory that organizations exhibit a personality based on their corporate culture, and everything about an organization is consistent with that personality. The way the marketing material is laid out, the way somebody responds to you on the first cold call, the way the reception is set out, the way people interact with you is very, very consistent. So for us, for me in particular, it's about understanding that very early on, maybe a year or two before we even formally work with that customer, and introducing as many of our operational people as possible during that sales cycle, so that the head of workforce solutions, the various operational managers get to see and feel and touch that customer before we formally engage with them. And I think it's also about being as honest as possible as an organization. You know, some of the biggest sort of contracts that I've seen go belly up have been because sides, a bit like in a marriage, have pretended to be one thing and turned out to be something else. And I think you might as well be honest straight up in any marriage or any relationship and understand each other as well as possible from the word go. So thank you.
All right, thank you. You guys can step down, and using the comparison to marriage is not good when you have a divorce guy as the moderator, Tom. I just want to say that. All right, the next one goes to Sally Hunter and Phil Cooper. So, we're talking about world-class workforces. You're always talking to your clients about it, but today we want to talk about yours. What do you, we'll go to Sally first, what does Kelly OCG do to make sure that you're hiring and training the best people and getting them to be the world-class workforce that you promise to your clients? What is it that Kelly OCG does that makes you world-class?
Sure. I think we're all obligated to be a destination employer, and part of how we do that is building our reputation in the marketplace. We're extremely proud of our online strategy and the amount of work we put into thought leadership and into making sure that we're ahead of the industry in terms of our messaging. And the way we source candidates into our organisation is typically passive sourcing. So we're tapping people on the shoulder who have shown real skill in the industry, and we're really monitoring the hiring paths into key organisations. And typically we're looking at individuals not just from competitors, but from our client organisation. We've had people join our business from the procurement function of our client organisations to really bring that outside into the business. And then you've got to have a world-class programme in terms of inducting them into the programme. So my solution architect joined last week. She's in the US this week for a week to really understand our business, to see key global programs in action and bring that back to the region in terms of the global delivery.
All right. Bill?
Thank you. The reality is the ability to attract talent from the beginning is the most critical. So getting the right resources in the organization and the business is absolutely number one. Philosophy at Legis is really to try and promote from within, create opportunity from the rank and file, if you will, for any programs that we might have that go live and really drive that culture. But we recognize at the entry level, there's got to be a training program, there's got to be a plan. So we've heavily invested in ensuring we've got the induction, the onboarding, and the ability to train people on what is core to our business, which absolutely is recruitment. And I think that culture is then embedded throughout to ensure that there's a succession plan for that individual, and they can move into other opportunities throughout our business. We invest in management training, development for our people to ensure that they're not just getting the training on site or at a customer site as it relates to their experience. And then it's as Sally said, it's really alignment to the organization and do some core fundamental training as it relates to what's important for our clients.
Okay. All right. Good answer, both of you. Oh. So, let's see. Let's see how Rory and Kath answer the next question. So, there we go. See, it's more kinetic for the audience when we make you folks move around. You know, it keeps their attention. All right. So, let's talk about the definition of success. All right. Let's see if your answer matches up to what your own clients sitting in the studio audience think the definition of success is. So what is your company's definition of success? What are the metrics that are most important to you in an RPO engagement? I want to go to Rory first.
We don't define success contractually. We define it more in long-term relationships. So how we retender for retendering opportunities. But when we speak to our customers, actually, we have to help our customers understand that as a true partnership, we will need to put in an obligation on the client side to put in as much as we do as a business into a contractual relationship. We have been working with customers recently where we don't actually see the traditional metrics. We're trying to move away from the time to hire, source per hire, cost per hire. We're trying to move where it's business outcome related. So where we actually work with a customer to improve the bottom line in their business. It's a bit like the holy grail of quality of hire, but this is where we're taking our customers to make us a true partnership, is where we improve their business bottom line. I think the other important definition for us in success is we want to be liked by our customers, but we also like to like them, and we're very upfront about the fact that we don't have a master-slave relationship with any of our customers, so that is a definition of success from our perspective.
All right, very good. Kat, definition of success.
Well, I think I would echo Rory's thoughts that we were looking to move towards an outcome-based measure of success and definitely not look at the inputs when we begin our engagements with our clients. And I think the traditional outcome-based measures of success have been reducing cost, reducing time, improving quality. But I think we need to take that a step further, and we've tried to do that in terms of aligning business bottom line benefit to what the resourcing function are doing. And that's really important in helping our HR clients prove their credibility and the ROI of what they're doing to their board colleagues and their C-suite colleagues. We're very lucky in Capita because we're an organisation of 60,000 people, so we get to practice on our own people before we take it externally. So we've been doing a lot of work on that internally. And a good example of that is working with the BBC TV licensing business in Capita. We, as Capita, are now incentivised to collect many more licence fees than we used to be. So suddenly, instead of being measured on great customer service, which is what the BBC used to care about, the BBC now measure us on collecting billions more in licence fees. And our outcome is related to that. And our resourcing function now have a load of our fees at risk related to improving that business's P&L and operational profit every year. And that's what we want to now take externally and make work with our external customers as well. Difficult to do, but it's absolutely the right way to go, I think.
All right, very good. So now we'll go to Seb and Phil for the next question. So it's some of the, and this by the way is the hardest question, gentlemen.
Let me go first.
All right. So basically, Phil, for being gutless and trying to throw Seb under the bus, you go first. What is the next great wave in RPO? Is it the combination of MSP RPO? Is it some other evolution? What's your company specifically doing to get ready for what you believe is the next wave or phase of RPO?
That's a good question. I think the next wave of RPO, I think, is obviously all about innovation. It's the word that everybody uses, and it's understanding what innovation is per customer. Innovation means something different to one client versus another. Obviously, in the European landscape, the ability to deliver a service that is consistent in different countries with different legislation, different rules of engagement, and understanding how you can actually deliver the quality of talent is probably the next revolution that I would see in this region. The convergence as well of technology and how you can actually leverage the technology from a contingent standpoint as well as a permanent standpoint gives you the ability to look holistically at a customer and say, I can manage your talent no matter where it is, what it is, if you want a payroll, if you want a contractor, if you want full-time. You have the ability to mobilize the right talent internally as an RPO, deliver on the expectations that you set forth contractually, and then have the technology to leverage as well.
All right. Good. Seb? Next great thing.
Okay, I'm going to answer this in two parts. I think there's the next big thing in RPO that Randstad Sourceright is focusing on. So, what is our answer to true globalization or multi-country RPO? How are we handling that in less mature recruitment markets? How are we expanding our scope across those areas? Then there's, how are we taking successful blended programs from the UK and the US into Asia Pac and those things. And those are very much internally focused about how we can take things to the market. I think the key thing for me about the next stage in RPO is what's the next stage in RPO for an individual client. I don't think that clients want to hear about what's the next innovation the RPO businesses are doing on a broad scale. They want to know what's going to impact them today, tomorrow, for the next year, for the next 3 years. And I think that sometimes the business or the industry we're in can talk too holistically and not actually answer the questions that an individual client wants to have answered. So for us, it's what is our global strategy? What is our blended workforce strategy? Absolutely important to us. But when we take it down to a customer level, is how do we make it real for them and how do we answer their individual questions and deliver their business outcomes?
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, next we go to Rory and Sally. So take the stage. And this question I specifically targeted to your two companies. Kelly has a fabulous social media capability, and Pontoon is doing all kinds of stuff to invest in gamification. And I've seen presentations on this from both firms. So technology. How do you ensure that your RPO customers are getting the latest technology? And how do you ensure that you will bring them the next great thing when it's available? Why don't we start with Sally?
So a big part of the Kelly philosophy is to be agnostic around technology. And that's given us an opportunity to build a number of partnerships as opposed to having a proprietary tool or particular partnership. So we have a dedicated global team that focus on those relationships and also the innovation that comes from that. And we do a lot of experimenting on our own systems and philosophies. So whether that's acquiring talent for ourselves or experimenting with our customers, we're bringing to them new technology solutions and new ideas and working in partnership with those providers. And I think that gives us a unique view of being able to show our organisation as the case study. So an example of that would be we have piloted a number of programs within our own recruiting to look at creating a video job description that gives people a window into the organisation to see what the culture's like and our people, an opportunity to really engage with that once we've tapped them on the shoulder to join the organisation. And we're then able to share that with our customers in terms of building the next big thing. The other key part of that is leveraging technology from an efficiency point of view. So we've worked with GE extensively to look at how we build different filtering and screening processes that leverage technology, that keep it high touch, but start to really funnel through the quality high potential talent.
Minute and 23 seconds. She was trained for this. Okay. All right. Rory.
There's a Chinese proverb that says, dig a well before you're thirsty. So that's how we approach technology. We will test out technologies. As people in the room know me, I'm not pro-corporate, I'm not woohoo, Pontoon. I'm pro helping our customers, I'm very customer focused. But we were the first guys to use Avature, we were the first guys to use HireView. So I'm not ringing the Pontoon flag and just stating fact. We have been investing in technology to the tune of millions in the US, and we export it to our other countries. I think if we mention something like gamification, if you go to our website, you'll actually be able to apply using theories of gamification. I don't think gamification is the silver bullet, but it's among a flotilla of different technologies and different approaches that we tend to use with our customers. The key thing behind innovation is innovation costs. Failure is integral to innovation. If I was choosing a supplier, as a purchaser, I'd speak to the CFO of that supplier to understand how much money are they putting into innovation, i.e. failed ventures, to understand what didn't work, because you'll then discover the real culture of innovation within the business.
All right. I would, by the way, Rory, I wouldn't do the woo-hoo thing again in a presentation format. Very good. All right, our next question goes to Kath and Tom. And my goal with this question is to start a fight. Okay? All right.
Ladies first.
And we'll go to Tom first, since he said he was a salesperson, and we're going to put him on the spot right now.
Oh boy.
So Tom, in a mere 90 seconds, tell us what is unique that elevates your company, specifically Advantage XPO, above, and I want to stress above, the rest of the industry. Feel free to point at any of your competitors up here and tell us specifically why they're nowhere near as good as you. And you can do the same to Kath, who's standing next to you. You have 90 seconds to tell us what elevates Advantage XPO above the rest.
Right, thank you, Elliot. And I know why Elliot's doing this, because I bumped into him in the toilets just before we came in here. And he said, "You ready, Tom?" And I said, "I was born ready, Elliot." And that'll teach me to try and psych out Elliot.
and my response
Stop
was,
stop the clock.
is that the best thing you could come up with at that moment, right? You know,
all right, good.
I was deeply concerned. All right, go ahead. Why are you the best? 90 seconds.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to focus on two areas, innovation and culture. They sound like generic things that you'd see in any PowerPoint presentation from any of the companies here, innovation and culture on a summary slide. But under innovation, our company is embarking on a global strategy with the aim of being the world's largest human capital management company in 3 years' time through acquisition and organic growth. And you see reflected in our acquisitions partly the battle being played out in the wider staffing industry, which is the battle between traditional recruitment and new model recruitment. New model recruitment being based on technology, social media, big data, data mining, crowdsourcing, and the fusion of all of those ideas. So you'll see about 12 months ago we made an acquisition of Indeed.com or Indeed.co.uk, one of many acquisitions that you'll see. The largest, most visited online job placement community in the world, job board aggregator, and that's a reflection of our investment in new technology. The second area I think we're unique is we're Japanese, and nobody else is. The relevance of that is our culture is very different. Give me a few more seconds. Our culture is very different, and the Japanese culture is about understanding that we're all connected. Western culture is about valuing the individual over the system. The Japanese and Asian cultures are about understanding that we as individuals are part of a greater community, and that's reflected in our relationships between our peers and our company, our customers, and our candidates and the wider community. And I think hopefully that's what you'll see and reflected in the way we behave. Thank you.
All right. You're not Japanese, but why are you better?
Not Japanese, half Italian though. So I think Capita is a 60,000 person strong organisation that has grown probably exponentially and has outperformed, you haven't started the clock by the way, has outperformed the rest of the FTSE 100 in the last 10 years by 256%. So Capita knows what it's doing. And so I think the unique thing that Capita offers above my extremely capable, eminent competitors in the room is that we have the safety and the experience of doing massive scale business process outsourcing transformation across a multitude of industries. So just a complete safe pair of hands. But also, because of the very federated way in which we operate, you get to leverage the scale of a huge operation, but you get to work with a very passionate group of individuals who are experts in the RPO space. We're also looking at what comes next, and in terms of the previous question before last around what's the next big thing in RPO, we think it's about proper insight-led, research-based, intelligent recruitment talent pipelining, which is why we made a very smart acquisition recently, we think, of Right Research, and we're very much looking forward to bringing that proposition to market to address the 10 to 15% of the RPO issue that I think the rest of us collectively have not yet solved.
All right, thank you. All right, the last question goes to Sally and Phil. And we'll let Phil go first, and Sally we touched on this a little bit, but I want to come back and get more specifics. So Phil, how do you use social media today to develop candidates and build relationships, and what will be the next innovations in the use of social media in recruitment? And we specifically want to hear a prediction in your answer. Not all what you're doing today, but also what you believe will be next.
So as we use it today, it's a massive component to our strategic talent acquisition model, which is a three-pillar, if you will, process that contains social media. Every facet of it, building talent communities, connections, passive job seeker. I think we're all there on that. The results of those types of approaches through social media are somewhat unfounded to a point where it's hard to actually track where the candidates are coming from, because there's many avenues, many mediums to be able to apply for a job through social or be connected to. So we've actually built a lot around our 21R platform now, and strategic talent process to ensure that our recruiters are using social as an avenue, but actually are picking up the phone and still recruiting. And so there's a big balance there. And I think one that sometimes can get very, very lost. So that's where we're using social today. Where I think it's going, at the moment, I think it's a lot of people joining talent communities. It's a lot of people just the passive job seeker looking at a brand and saying, hey, I would like to apply, but I haven't got time. And the connection of those communities. My prediction is, though, unless there's a way to really actively communicate using technology through social in a method where it's not all the push out, it's a lot of pull back in, you've got to get the connecting of good talent talking to good talent, even if it's around your brand, if it's around your client's brand, and that connection through social has to happen. My prediction is it's going to take some time.
Sally?
I think I've touched on the fact that it's a key part of our sourcing strategy. So inevitably, it is key to mature markets, but in new markets, it can only play one part of the process. And so we see that we've got to balance social with really that local market knowledge that you get from a staffing company that's got that footprint in 30 countries, to really understand the local market and couple that with a social strategy. But my prediction for the future is around RPO providers as that really trusted advisor to the business. We know that most new hires will look at existing employees' profiles to understand the business and the culture. And it's our responsibility to make sure those profiles really reflect the organisation. So I think every RPO provider should be, and we do, working with our customers and their profiles and their key C-suite and key leaders to make sure those profiles really represent the kind of recruiting strategy that we're executing. And that is one way of harnessing those social referrals, to really working with a business to say, you may already know the ideal person for this job, so let us help you find them and really have a laser-focused strategy for the future.
All right, thank you.